Jen. Well, for Lester, but I go by Stun Gun Jen. I work with a company called Damsel in Defense. I've been doing this now, it'll be 9 years at the end of this month. And I got into it originally after finding out my daughter was a 2-time rape survivor. So my goal is to make sure every single one of you walks out of here safer than you walked in. Whether or not you decide to buy a tool from me, I want you learning today. So we're going to go over a lot of education base as well. You guys ready for that? Ready to soak it all in? Okay, can you change the slide over for me?
I have no idea. What am I doing?
Uh-oh, just hit the space bar and see if that'll work.
No.
Oh, fart. On screen share, this is going to make it a whole lot harder.
Okay.
Go ahead and stop share. We just won't share for the Zoom people. Sorry, Zoom people. You're just going to actually have to listen to me instead.
That's Peter right here.
And is there a way to go through a PowerPoint
I got it. Right
There
here.
it is.
Not on screen
while
share.
screen sharing on Zoom?
She got
I
it.
don't know. I have to ask that.
Edgar.
No,
No, you got it. She got
Yeah,
it.
but I'm not
Zoom
sharing my
people
screen.
can
You know.
Listen in instead of actually watching the slides. So we're going to talk about the 5 key elements of self-defense. All right, your first one being situational awareness. You need to be paying way more attention than too many of us pay anymore. We become very complacent in our lives and we forget we actually have to pay attention. Now, for realtors, this means you arrive at the homes before your clients. You get your exits, all of them unlocked. Make sure you know the property well before you let anybody else in. When I say make sure your exits are unlocked, I want you to also check the back gate. Okay, because some of us actually lock our back fence because a lot of criminals like to break in through the backyard, and it makes it easy if that gate's unlocked. You need to be able to get off the property if your life is threatened. So be sure all of those accesses are actually unlocked. And this is true in regular life too. Whenever you go into a new building or a property of any kind, you want to make sure you check your exits. It also plays into the people. Pay attention to the people. What can you guys tell me a predator looks like? Anybody. They can be dressed any way. They can be super handsome or not. Does not matter. They can be male or female. Okay. What about behaviors though? What might they behave like? What might be some things you pick up when you're paying attention to some behaviors that a predator might be up to no good?
A little nervous.
Maybe, yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
Some of them are very friendly.
Some of them are very friendly, overly charming.
Yes.
You know that feeling like, oh, they're trying way too hard.
Yeah.
Right? You know, for the single ladies, we know what that, you know, or even if we're not single anymore, when we were single, we know what that can be like, right? And paying attention to, you might start to notice they're looking around a lot extra because guess what they're doing? They're checking for the exits too. And they're trying to figure out who all their witnesses are. So pay attention to those behaviors so that you know on those cues, maybe you need to create more space, get out or get help. Okay. Your second one is body language. This plays into you and to them. To you, because your body language is going to tell a person whether or not you may be an easy target. Okay. So body language like this and or distracted is going to make it look like this is going to be easy for them. If you are walking with your head held high, your shoulders back, even in the way you stand. See how I'm standing right now? This is my natural stance. This is a power stance. Okay. If I'm standing there with my feet planted and they're not too close together, I'm not standing like a little girl and posing and all of that caca that girls do, right? That's a power stance. That's going to also help me fight. It helps my center of gravity. So make sure you're giving off that body language that's going to tell them, I'm not going to make something easy for you. And again, that plays into their body language. You might pick up on them looking around, like I said, but you also might pick up on them moving their hands a lot more. As they ramp up, you might start to see them making a fist. You also might, this isn't body language, but you might start to see them sweating when they shouldn't be sweating. This might not necessarily play into a woman because at some certain ages, sometimes we sweat no matter what temperature it is. Just saying. But for a man to suddenly start sweating in a perfectly air-conditioned space, that can be a cue that his adrenaline is starting to ramp up. So really cue into those. Okay. And I know I'm talking fast because I want to make sure when you guys are done eating, we're pretty much done. Okay. So self-thinking, are you worth protecting? So I get a lot of people who have it in their minds like, I could never stick my thumb in somebody's eyeball to get away from them. Like the problem with that is if you aren't willing to do what you have to do to get away with somebody, you're not giving yourself enough value. Because you know what, it wasn't your choice to be in that situation in the first place, right? So you have to start really changing that thinking to, I'm going to do whatever I've got to do. It also plays into, I don't want you to think, oh my God, what's he going to do to me? Because that also gives you fear and can turn you into that easy target, I want you to think, what am I going to do to him? Okay, he's going to bring it, I'm bringing it too. So it's that self-thinking and change of mindset that you're going to do whatever you have to do to get home safe to your family. Okay, as realtors, you guys are in a very different precarious situation. You are isolated and with strangers all the time. You may have met them before, but let me tell you, 82% of attacks happen by someone we're already familiar with.
Yeah.
Okay, so my brain just went completely off the track. Wow, I was onto something. I'll get back there at some point. So it's important that we're always keeping that in mind and always giving ourselves that value, because you know I get from realtors a lot of time. One, they don't want to take people with them because you know they don't want to have to share a commission. They don't want to have to whatever. I get that, but there is no commission that is worth your trauma. Okay, whether you're traumatized or God forbid dead, you're not going to make any money during the time you're healing. So it's so much more important to start listening to all those safety rules. Start listening to your gut that's telling you, you know what, this person makes me very uncomfortable. I need to get out of this situation and get, if I'm going to even continue with this client, I need to always make sure I'm not alone. And there's plenty of people you can use for that, for open houses and so forth. You guys, you have the warranty people, they want to sell their product to everybody who's walking through an open house, right? You've got your title rep, your mortgage brokers, your home insurance people. It doesn't have to be a fellow realtor. It can be a spouse, a best friend, whatever, so that you always are there with someone and aren't alone. Because being alone does create a vulnerability. Okay, boundaries. This is when people have a hard time with. A lot of people will say no more than once. When you say no more than once, it kind of gives off the signal that you're an easy target. When you ask more than once, it gives a signal that you can be an easy target. Can I use you? I'm going to ask you to put your hand on my lower back. Let's say you're showing a property and this gentleman starts to like put his hand on your back, which in this day and age is a heck of a lot more unacceptable than it was years ago. Right? So say he was an older gentleman, right? An older gentleman, that was part of their culture and the chivalry of their time. That doesn't mean you have to be comfortable with it. You can say, please don't put your hands on me, or please don't touch me. And you can be very nice once, only once. Second time he does it, go ahead again. Don't touch me. Third time he does it, don't touch me. Okay? Because it is ask once, tell once, then make them. All right? Because that's showing him, I'm not going to make this easy on you. And I don't have to start nice. If I'm really uncomfortable with him, I can start with the make him right now. But when you're realtors and we're talking about dealing with clients, you're probably going to start off a lot softer. Okay? So that's the first time I'll use you. Thank you. So keeping that in mind, because no, if you make a mistake on that and you don't set that boundary super clearly, is it your fault if something happens to you?
No.
Hell no. Okay, I'm just going to make that clear. It is still not your fault in any way, shape, or form. This is just one way to show you're not an easy target, because guess what? Your bad guys want an easy target. And that's where the last step comes in, your physical defense, being willing to fight back. You have to be willing to fight back. The goal, get away, right? We don't want to have, I don't want to have to be in an altercation at all. I'd like to be able to escape before that ever happens. But if it is, we're in a point where I can't get away, I have to be willing to fight back. And to remember, predators don't like to get hurt and they don't like to get caught. So if we can do things right off the bat to show them that you're going to do one or both, then there's less of a chance you're going to be a target in the first place. But there's also a good chance they're going to be done and let you go. Let's go to the next slide, please. So remembering, especially as realtors, privacy and control, PC. Every time you're going on a property, I want you to think PC. Remember, your predators, they need privacy to get control. Okay? That means you do not lead them into anywhere on that property. You lead them with your words, not your body. Okay? You can meet them outside the front door. Ask them to enter in front of you. Okay? Because again, you get there before them. You're not unlocking that lockbox with them at your back. You can greet them at the front door. You can ask them to go ahead and enter, always so that you have control of that door. They can't close that door behind you and create that isolation. When you're going down the hallway, you play Vanna the best that you can. That means, okay, and down there on the hallway off to the left, you're going to find the primary bedroom, and you stay back. Okay? Never enter that room with them where they can potentially maneuver around you and shut that door. Especially think about this at open houses. Stay in the most open space that you possibly can so that they cannot create that privacy and get that control. Okay, next slide, please. All right, question I get all the time. Well, fighting back make it worse. I have a lot of people, I don't want to fight back. It's going to make it worse. They're going to beat me harder. Yes, and I'm going to tell you right now, that can happen. Okay, but percentage-wise, the statistics go, 4% of us can avoid sexual assault just by using our words. Okay, that goes up to 55% plus when we actually fight back. Even more when you fight back with a weapon. Because remember what I said, they don't want to get hurt and they don't want to get caught. So as soon as we start creating that pain and showing them, I'm not going to make this easy for you, that's when we have a better chance of getting out. Now, there will be those instances where you're going to realize my fighting back is not doing well. And this is where this is something that trauma instructors are starting to teach more and more about. You hear it in the news where, say, especially in domestic violence situations, a woman might allow their husband to rape them, okay? I'm only saying rape, or allow is what I was trying to put quotes on. Allow them to rape her because if she doesn't, she's going to be beaten or her children will be. That's appeasing the attacker. It's actually a response they're calling fawning, okay? That's when you appease your attacker because you know if you don't, this is going to get worse. So somebody has a knife to your throat and is telling you that this is what they want you to comply with. If you don't have a means to fight back, you might have to comply to save your life. That's fawning. Does that make your fault? No, absolutely not. Doesn't make it consensual, even though you gave in for lack of better terms. It still does not make that consensual. Okay. Sorry, sometimes I go on tangents. All right, so what we want to do is always have a plan for fighting back. How many of you have a plan to fight back when somebody, what is that, your pen? Awesome. I actually have an even better pen, but I sold my very last one. Yeah, I sold my very last one, so I don't have one to show you, but I'll get to that. Okay, go ahead and hit it again. All right, so this is why it's important to have a plan. This is called the Ooda Loop. I'm giving you Air Force level training absolutely free today. How awesome is that, right? So every single one of us has to go through the observe, orient, decide, and act cycle in our brain 2 times till our body will move. This works for and against you. It works against you because if you can't process through that because you've never had a plan and it's hard to kind of get through that space of holy crap, what is happening to me right now? That's a lot of the time when we freeze. Okay, between that and all those trauma hormones that are coursing through your body when you are in a threatening situation, that's why we freeze. Okay, when we have a plan to fight back, we have a much better chance of moving through that so that we can actually have a physical reaction. Now this works for you because guess what? Your bad guy also has to process through the Ooda Loop as well. And when he is processing through and getting to the decide part of it, he decides on one plan. He has plan A. And I'm saying he, please don't be offended, gentlemen. It's just because more often, statistically, we deal with violence with men against men or women. Okay. And I don't want to say he, she, they every time I'm talking about a gender, but it can be a woman too. So don't discount your gut just because a woman makes you uncomfortable. And men, I'm talking to you about that too, because women can be violent as well. And yes, men are raped as well. Don't discount that at any point, okay? So when they are going through and they hit that decide part of their Ooda Loop, when you do something that absolutely was not part of their plan, that's when you shoot them all the way back to that observe part and they have to recycle through before they can react again. And by that point, their decision is most likely, I'm done with this. It's not as easy as I thought it would be. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Does that make sense to everybody? Again, I know I'm going really fast. So let's just go through a quick observe, okay? Let's just say, oops, sorry. Let's just say he's at my open house. And I'm going to just keep talking because this is fun. Okay, so he's at my open house and I'm in the kitchen. And I just noticed instead of looking at the house, he's looking at me too much. This is kind of weird. This is kind of creepy, right? I mean, I know I'm cute, but no, okay. So it just starts to feel a little yuck. Right? Because he's observing me, he's observing how I behave, and then he might start looking around. Okay, so now he's orienting himself. He's starting to create that plan in his mind. He's seeing where those exits are. He's figuring out what he's going to do, how he's going to get away with it. Okay, that's when he's in the decide. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how she's going to react, and then he takes a couple steps forward. Okay, when I do something like back off, he's done. Okay, because he didn't expect me to do that. Remember the part, they don't want to get caught? That plays into that. So that goes into the next slide. So your very first step is making noise. I want you all to practice. When I say threat, I want you to yell back off at me. Please understand. Back the F off is a lot more effective. But we are in a work environment, so we aren't going to yell that. If it is not part of your normal language, I want you to start making it at every red light on your way home tonight. Because there's a lot of lights here in Omaha. Right? And I want you to practice finding that voice, because back off sounds a whole lot different than back off. Okay? I mean, which one is somebody going to decide, okay, they're done, right? So you need to practice that. Some of that's hard for us. So when I say threat, make sure your food is swallowed and you're ready to go. When I say threat, I want to hear it from all of you. Ready? Threat!
Back off!
I'm louder than all of you. Let's try it one more time. Ready? Threat!
Back off!
Right? So I want you to really find it, get that low tone and really put it out there like you mean it. Because remember, your life is worth more than theirs, because you are not the bad guy here. Okay? Next is get away. Use those planned exits. You got there, you know where your exits are, use them. Get away if you can. That is always, always, always the goal. But if you can't get away, that's when we have to fight. All right? So how many of you carry something for self-defense right now? What do you carry? Oh, your pen, a regular ballpoint pen. So you guys know.
Very expensive book.
Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
Found
So I have a not as expensive ballpoint pen that is much more sturdy, has a DNA collector, a flashlight, a strobe, and everything on it. I just don't have it on display because I literally got it sold out of my display like 2 days ago. So I have them on reorder. Anybody else carry self-defense tools?
Yes.
What do you-
Pepper spray
Good?
and sharp object.
Good?
And when I've done open houses by myself, and somebody comes in, I stay on the phone with a family member, will be on the line as I'm talking to the customer. They hear
So they're
something.
listening in?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have some tools to help you with too. So let's go ahead to the next slide, please. So this is our tool that's going to help you in 2 ways. It's going to be able to call help for you and create that noise. This is our new Hear Me Out. We just released this July 1st, and it is fast becoming my favorite tool, especially for realtors. Okay. It's a personal alarm you just call. Okay. But right now it's also texting my 5 pre-programmed contacts that I'm in trouble, along with my GPS location.
oh,
Now, the beauty of this
oh.
is you can set it off silent alarm style. So if you are in a situation, let's say he's giving me the creeps on this private showing, but it's not really time. I'm not at the point yet that I'm like, I want to create a scene. I want him to know he's giving me the creeps. You can have that in your pocket, hit that silent alarm button. Now your people know, call you. Okay, and which I probably should.
Because your phone's gonna ring.
That way they know they should call you, never text. They should never text to check on you. Oh, I have my phone in here. Well, great, now I don't even know where my phone is. They should
It might be
never
an iPad.
actually text you, because bad guys can get a hold of your phone and tell them that you're safe and fine. Okay, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. Okay, so this is our app. All right, it's already sent the text and it's sending it again because I have mine set to go off every minute, because it'll continue to go off and re-alert until you go into the app, you tell it you're safe, and you put in a PIN code. So bad guys cannot get your phone and tell them you're safe either. Now, what I teach realtors, if you use that silent alarm feature, when they call, I want you to answer the phone and I want you to say, oh, hi, oh, you're on your way? Okay, fantastic. I'll see you in 3 minutes. That's code. That means get your butt here. I need someone here with me. I'm not comfortable. If you don't answer, that means call the police, right? Because you're not going to be able to answer if you're actually in the middle of a struggle. So make sure they understand in advance. I'm headed to an open house. Please pay attention to your alerts. Here's how I'd like you to handle it. Okay? Send out a group text if you have to. If you have 5 contacts in there, send out a group text so that they all understand that. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Now, the beauty of ours, as opposed to, oh, and it has a little flashlight too. Beauty of ours, as opposed to some other types of tracking devices on the market, go ahead to the next slide, please, is that, and we have 2 things. We actually have a pepper spray that has that GPS tracking in it as well. So when you set off your pepper spray, it's also going to send the alert, and you can set that off without spraying the pepper spray too. So our pricing is the same or cheaper than the others on the market to start with. And then you add into the fact that our app is free and there's no subscription. So you never pay another bit for it again, which is why I love ours above theirs. Ours also has fighting back capabilities. Most of theirs are little pieces of jewelry and whatnot that are cute, but what's it going to do in the moment besides get help there? I want you helped now as well. Okay, go ahead and go on to the next, please. All right, so my next favorite is my stun gun. That's why I go by stun gun Jen.
I have
So that you understand, our stun guns are a weapon strength stun gun. If you see stun guns on the market and they're talking, oh, we're 9 million volts and all that other baloney, it's baloney, okay? Because to do that, you have to have the prongs a mile apart. Amperage is what makes a stun gun powerful. And a lot of those won't even tell you their amperage. Ours, we've gone through third-party testing. Ours is 18 milliamps of power. It's going to actually cause painful shock, muscle contraction, and they won't be able to let it go if they grab it, but it also exhausts that muscle. So if I hit him in the thigh, good chance he's going to the ground, real better chance he's also not going to be able to run after me, okay? Now, the other advantage is ours take a safety key. So once that key is popped in, you have all the power. Now I have it, I'm armed and ready to go. Remember what I said about making noise, right? I'm armed and ready to go, but if it's taken, it's disarmed immediately. Okay, so they cannot turn this weapon against you, right? But let's just add to it. If I had this sitting in my pocket, maybe not around my wrist, but sitting in my pocket, and he did start to charge me, and I did a back off, this is like an exclamation point to your voice, right? This is going to let them know I'm not only going to be noisy, I'm going to hurt you. Okay. Now, a stun gun is a direct contact weapon. These do not shoot out a projectile. So best targets for a stun gun are chest, abdomen, and thighs. Large muscle groups are best. This is not a large muscle group. Okay.
Not a muscle.
Exactly. Thank you. But how many men have told us that? 2 years, right? So it's not. It would still feel like a swift kick to the groin. There would still be very painful. So there's a good chance they're still going to drop. Okay, but if they can fight through that pain, they can still run. If I take out this muscle, that running's not so easy. Does that make sense? Now you can hit them anywhere and it'll cause some pain, but those large muscle groups are going to be best. It also won't travel through. So if I am being grabbed, I don't need to worry about it. I can still stun them. And we'll go through that in a minute when I show you guys that even more on how to use that. All right, they also tell you how charged they are, and they're micro USB, rechargeable, and have a lifetime warranty. All right, let's go on to the next one, please. So let's talk pepper spray, because that's what you said you carry, right? So first and foremost, not all pepper spray is created equal, and you can find it anywhere. I've seen it at the Dollar Tree. I was like, oh, that is not what I'm going to try and keep myself safe with. No, thank you. So you have to understand the strength of your pepper spray. You should always know how far it shoots and so forth, so that you know with ours, it is the hottest you can actually carry without a specialized permit. 1.45 major capsaicinoids. There's also a UV identifying dye. So once you spray and get away, they're going to glow under a black light for up to a week.
Wow.
In optimal conditions, these small little guys that are keychain size, these will shoot up to 16 feet. I could shoot them with no problem in this room.
We're not
right?
testing that on brand
And they
today, though.
can, they can close the distance of 20 feet in a second. Okay, so you definitely, pardon me, you definitely want to keep that in mind as well. If he's got a weapon, well, number one, I'm not going to run up on him with my stun gun. Okay, I'm going to try and stop him with my pepper spray. But thank God I'll still have my stun gun in my hand. Again, I'll show you that in a second. Because if he does close that footage before I'm able to execute that pepper spray, I've still got a weapon. Okay. All right. Any questions on pepper spray real quick before we move on from that? Besides how to use it? This is not right. Okay. Don't hold your pepper spray like a girly girl. All right. You want to hold it in your fist. Use your thumb. Ours all lock off to the side so they don't accidentally engage. Twist it to the center to spray. If you can think to do so, you want to hold your opposite hand up to protect yourself from blowback. This is not effective. You have to see your bad guy. Okay. You're gonna and you're gonna do it a Z formation across the face like I've got on him, and then once down the shirt. Because you want to cover all those mucous membranes. It doesn't just burn, it causes instant inflammation of all the mucous membranes. They'll sneeze, they'll choke, they'll cough, they'll possibly even vomit. So also remember, step off the X. So if I'm here spraying my pepper spray, I'm going to step this way and then start to get myself that clearance. Because he's going to keep coming straight at me, and I don't want his hands on me. Okay, so step off the X, don't run backwards. Did a drill like that with some people one time, and I was able to smack every single one of them. Okay, so don't worry, we're not gonna do that here. All right, let's move on again. Then we got your striking tools. Those are the pens. Okay, we only have them in silver anymore. You see those on the bottom? They work just like these. Okay, this is not a pen. This one also, the pen has a few extra features, but can't go on a key ring. This one I have actually on my breakaway, so I can always have this at my disposal, whether it's on a belt loop or on my purse. I have my weapons in a flash because it never does you any good at the bottom of a purse, right? Or in a bag or stowed away in the trunk of your car or anything else like that. So I always have it super easy and ready to go. It is a striking tool. It makes any strike more effective than this by itself, especially for women. We don't have all of our strength in our upper body. All of ours is normally down from here down, right? So we need a little bit of extra force when we're using our hands. And I can punch with it because it's going to reinforce my fist. I can strike with the pointed end. I can even strike with the back end. Now on the pen, a strike with the back end and a scrape is going to collect DNA because as you can see, that back end is jagged, okay? You can also roll it over the bone and poke it straight into soft tissue.
Wow.
It's all about creating pain. I can poke it in an eye, flick that eye across the room.
Oh,
It's all about creating pain. I'm going to do what I got to do. If my ball's got to fly, I
It's
got to
gotta
fly,
fly.
right? Whatever I got to do. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, before I go into my last story, I'm going to show you how to put it all together. The starfish? Okay, so this is how I personally carry. All right, this is our arm candy. It's an extra disabled pin for the stun gun. If I am not carrying a purse, then I have all three in one. If I have a belt loop, I will separate it. Or sometimes I will take the jabbing tool and I'll just stick, ow, that poked me. I will just stick it in my pants so that I can get to it fast. Okay, do you understand? It's cold. And it's a little sharp on the end. So be careful. I'll probably have a little scrape there right now. Now I've got my stun gun. I'm not putting the pin in. Oh, that's reflex. I almost just nailed you. All right, go ahead and come up and put me in a chokehold. You know the drill. Don't squeeze so I can talk. If somebody were to grab you from the back, first of all, what's your main concern? Breathing. Ha! Yeah, right. Okay, so go a little tighter because it's okay to do that. Now, first thing you need to do if somebody does put you in a chokehold is protect your airway. So everybody real quick, give me a shrug of your shoulders, hold it up by your ears, tuck your chin like you're doing a total double chin, and then tuck your chin into the crook of their elbow. That's what you want to do. So you're going to shift your head so it's in the crook of your elbow. Okay. Now, if all I have is pepper spray, how's that going to serve me right now? Okay, I don't even know where his face is. I'm just showering myself, right? Now, if I have a striking tool, I can really easily go back to that thigh. I can come up and try and hit him in the head, or I can hit him in the hand, or I can wedge it here to give my chin even more space and push back on it as well. Okay, but even better, if I've got my stun gun, I'm just going to reach back like this. Now, do you see what I did here? I took two fingers, hooked it into that elbow space, and tucked my elbow. Okay. Okay, now squeeze me like you mean it. Like, no, seriously, squeeze me like you mean it. Okay, you're being way too gentle.
You was raised
Squeeze
too
me
well.
Like you mean it. Okay, that's gonna buy you time to fight back. Okay, so I reflexively, I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna just reach back and hit him in the thigh. And what's he gonna do by reflex?
Choke your
Does
world.
he? No. Does he want to stay where that pain is?
No.
No, by reflex, we want to escape that pain. He's going to let go of his hand and try and bat away whatever I'm hurting him with. That gives me my chance to get away, and it gives him the chance to think, is it worth it? And most of the time it's no. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, if he takes this away from me, so when I carry it with my pinky run through here. So when if he were to take this away from me, which it fits so well in the hand, that taking it from me is not going to be easy. He's going to hit the stun part. I can just stun his hand at that point, right? But I usually hold like this, not in my whole fist, even though in my fist, I can also punch him with it. That's another reason I like it. Okay, so go ahead and take that from me. If he does get away from me, I still have two weapons just like that. And I can choose. And I can start using those as well. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, awesome stuff. All right, before I move on to my closing story, do you guys have any questions about what I'm talking about?
Can you go back to the previous page?
Sure. Okay, striking points?
Yes.
Okay, so your striking points, just keep in mind, anywhere is going to create pain, right? Anywhere in this region, so you're talking those central points, the head and the chest, you can actually cause permanent to lethal injury, okay? If I were to strike him real hard in the temple, yes, I could kill him. If I were to crush his airway, I could kill him. And am I gonna do that if I feel the need?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
hell yeah, right? That goes back to that self-thinking. I know my kids need me home. They want me home. My husband actually wants me home. I don't do much for him, but he actually loves me, so whatever. So you have to keep that in mind too. Those central locations, this is where you can cause that lethal injury. It's not all gonna be lethal, but it's gonna hurt like heck. Anywhere though, even poking someone in the arm with that device is gonna do a lot to create that pain. Okay? All right, any others?
Pepper spray. Does that get plugged?
Oh, you know what? That's a really good question. Number one, pepper spray does also expire. So you want to keep an eye on the date of your pepper spray. Okay. We do sell refill canisters. As far as clogging, well, maybe if you sprayed it, but with ours, if you've used it in self-defense, we're replacing it free with your police report. So don't sit there and go, oh, okay, I got through that, I'm fine. Oh, good, I still have pepper spray, I'm good to go. No, because you also probably just used up all of your propellant, right? You might have liquid, but is it going to spray the next time? So be sure you use it that one time. Anytime you use any of these devices, do understand legally you have to report it. You get somewhere safe and you call the police. So spray and get away or stun and run. Either way, don't stick around and admire your work. Get somewhere safe, call the police. It's not time to do the little selfie thing. Like, no, we're going to call the police and you have to tell them I feared for my life. This can't be about, oh, they wanted my purse. Can't use a weapon.
To ask you a question.
All right. Well, then you shouldn't have been that close to me, fool. Like, I told you to back off. So keep that in mind too, is that you absolutely have to report that you feared for your life. You can't even say, I thought he was going to rape me.
Wow.
It has to be, I thought he was going to kill me. Okay. I know it's ridiculous. And I'm sure it depends on who you deal with in the whole judicial system. Just remember, use the word kill. Okay. I felt like I was going to be murdered. I thought I was going to die, whatever you have to say. Because when you use weapons for self-defense, it has to absolutely be about life. Okay. If they want your purse, what are you going to do?
Give it to him.
How are you going to give it to them?
Throw it away.
Throw it off to the side, because guess what that just did? It upset their Ooda Loop. Remember that? Okay, so that kind of goes against their plan. That's distracted them. That gives you your out. Any others?
I was a little late, but did you touch base on being aware of your surroundings?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
none of this will work unless.
Exactly. Situational awareness, #1 part of your toolbox. 100%. 100%. And we do a self-defense class. It is for ladies only, and it's to learn how to use what you were born with. We do it in Norwalk. We have a second-degree female black belt that does the instruction. I'm sorry, gentlemen. The only reason we don't allow gentlemen there isn't because we don't think we need it. It's because we do think we need it. It's because we want women who have been traumatized to feel a safe space. So that's why we don't allow men in the building, because a lot of our attendees are survivors. And it can be very intimidating to them to go in to learn to fight if there's somebody in that room that's giving them that same feeling. So it's to create a safe space. Okay, now we can go to that last slide. Is this actually good? Yes. Did you have another question?
No.
Okay. So this is the Starfish Story. It's why I do what I do. And it's one day an old man was walking along the beach as he saw a young boy hurriedly picking things up and throwing them into the ocean. And as he approached the boy, he asked, "Son, what are you doing?" The boy replied, "Well, I'm throwing starfish back into the ocean. The sun is up and the tide is out. If I don't throw them back, they'll die." And the man looks down the beach and he just laughs at the boy and he says, "Son, there are miles and miles of beach and thousands of starfish. You can't make a difference." So the boy smiled politely at the man. He bent down, he picked up another starfish and he gently threw it into the surf. And he said, "I made a difference to that one." And that's what this means to me. For those of you who've ever been through trauma and maybe are living life a little bit scared and want to have that way that you know that if it happens to you again, you can get out of it, that's why I'm here. For those of you who have it and might be in the future, that's why I'm here. That's why Sandi chose to partner with me for the last several years, though we lost the last 3, to be able to teach all of you, because she understands the importance of getting those starfish back out of the ocean. So thank you, Sandi, once again for coordinating another show. If you guys have products that you would like to get in your hands, I brought them today, and I have a special that's for today only till 6 o'clock tonight, though I'm not sitting here the whole time, but till 6 o'clock tonight. That alarm with the GPS that I showed you first and foremost, if you purchase that, you can have anything else that does not have the tracking technology for half price. okay? That means you can get that, hear me out, and then you can get yourself a stun gun for half price. So you have that thing to call help to you, and then you have that thing to fight back at the same time. Did you have a question?
Yes, I've noticed those necklaces that you have.
Those are whistles. That's Granny's good old fashioned rape whistle. So it's another way for you to make some noise. Okay. I mean, I have a few extra things on this table that I didn't talk about. I have our stun baton. This is not necessarily something you're going to carry around while you're doing shows. But it is great for home protection, or if you are one of those realtors who are still putting people in your car. Remember, PC, I don't like that. You're giving people that privacy. Okay, but if you are still going to insist on doing that, having this between your seat and the center console, so you can always grab it and tap anybody in your car. That's why it's the one I also suggest to Uber drivers and so forth. Just make sure you keep the key in it so it's ready when you pick it up. That's another thing you can use it for as well. I carry this when I walk my dogs. And the sidebar is stun too. So if they went to grab it, they'd still get shocked. And just yesterday is our 11th birthday of this company. They released this in pink ombre glitter coat. It's so gorgeous. I can't wait to get mine in my hands. I actually am going to, I can't tell you. You guys are just going to have to follow my social media to see what craziness I'm going to get into with that thing. So, and it's sealed, like no glitter gets on your hand. Like that'd be my concern.
Glitter
Like, is there gonna be
everywhere
glitter
forever.
everywhere?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't touch you. It's so gorgeous. But I do have most everything here for you. The last couple, this is a doorstop alarm. I used to suggest people, if you're going to hang out in the kitchen, put that right below the cabinets where there's that space a lot of the time. There's some more modern cabinets are going all the way. There's not necessarily a dip in there. That way it can be just stepped on when you want the alarm to go off. And then this one actually locks doors around the house. So if you had this on your person somehow, whether it's in a pocket or if you did carry a purse, if you had to run into a bedroom or something, you could potentially lock that bedroom door. It will keep them from being able to open it at all. I'll show you on this one because I'll show you on that one I'm outside and that's just dumb. Okay. So you put the metal bracket into the door, just like that, shut the door, take the plastic piece, and put it in the bracket. Now they can't open the door. Got the idea? Traveling in circles too.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen videos where people can get underneath the door in a hotel room and
Yeah.
open it.
Yeah.
I've
But
seen
no, that,
YouTube has tutorials on how to take a piece of string and get that latch undone in 20 seconds.
Yep.
So that in essence, that would create any room into the panic room, right?
Mhm.
Kind of, yeah. Now that depends on the doorknob though, because I went traveling the week after we released that and the hotel had the latch, the part of the doorknob that sticks out was this long.
Mm.
That won't fit on ours. Though we may be coming out because I immediately contacted our founder and said, need a fix. So we might come out with a second size.
So most homes it would work.
Homes, yes. Most homes it will work. And then this is the last thing you guys should probably have in your car because you're in your car all the time as realtors. It is an emergency flashlight. It's also a strobe. You have a beacon, you have an alarm. That means charging, it's quiet. You also have your seatbelt cutter, spring-loaded window breaker. And guess what? This thing can charge your phone.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Realtors should never have a dead phone. None of us should, but realtors especially. So if your car is dead, that's okay. Charge your phone with this. Okay. If you're stuck somewhere, and this is rechargeable too, if you are stranded somewhere, the emergency lights in your car are not working, the magnets along the head of this can mount it to your car and have the beacon going so people can still see your car.
Mhm.
Okay. This one is a lifesaver if you have a 2-story home or you live in an upper floor apartment building. You get trapped in a fire, this should be by your bedside anyway, because you always should have an emergency flashlight. Trapped in a fire, get low, have the beacon and the alarm going so firefighters can find you. I used to work 911, that's my 12 years of that. That's one reason I'm in the safety industry. So, yeah, that's just to cover those few extras, because you asked about the necklace and then I have to keep going on and on and on. Okay, any others? We do
I
that
carry my
so
stun
fast.
gun every single morning. So Joe and I walk at 5 o'clock every morning until the heat dome trapped California. Stop. I got a
You said
treadmill.
it was
I got a
fine.
treadmill.
Oh,
treadmill.
okay.
But even with my husband, I carry that every morning. It's a flashlight,
Mhm.
the dark part of our walk. And I've actually done it a couple of times I get the attention of every critter on our walk and they scatter.
Yeah.
My dog, I'm just around him, innately they know.
Yep.
Imagine, I mean, and
So
Coyotes.
coyotes.
yep, everything.
Mountain
And my
lions.
husband will
off-leash
run,
dogs.
he runs with pepper spray. I'm like, run with the stun gun instead.
Mhm.
The noise is gonna scare him off.
Yep.
You're not gonna get close enough to,
Well,
you
and if
know,
it's real windy, what's that pepper spray gonna
nothing.
do for
Yeah,
him,
plus this
right?
is expired. Let's get serious. It's been there for years. The stun gun, and once you charge it, it's good for a long time on the charge.
Yeah.
It really is.
I don't even know the last time I charged these.
I do it once a week now, and that's it.
Why?
I don't even
Do you-
need to,
don't
I just,
you
it's out of
check
habit.
it?
Yeah, but on habit, I just plug it in
Oh,
on
okay.
Sundays,
Comes with
but,
charger?
yep.
Comes, yeah, and it's a standard micro USB. So if you lose it, get one at Walmart.
Oh, and so the one thing Jen didn't say, which years ago, when you travel,
Check baggage.
checked baggage, or, which I have done, if there's nothing in there, it's just a flashlight. If it's
Oh,
not,
if you don't
if
have the key.
don't have the key is in the inside
Now,
zipper
they-
pocket of my purse.
If they
Depends on what
figure it out.
airport you're going through. Like I've brought shit through LAX and no one
Yours
catches it.
though, does yours look just like this or
Is
does
that
it have the triangles?
Mine is this one.
So it has the
Yeah,
extra triangles on
That
top.
one's,
Okay.
yeah, better.
Because the very first one we released didn't have the triangles. So that
Yeah,
one,
that more of
I,
a flashlight.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then we moved it and because this amplifies the sound and just creates a deeper, because a strike,
Yeah.
a little bit of a.
Because you could sell that all day long. It's just a flashlight. Because
Yeah.
they can't make it do anything.
Yeah. I mean, they can still choose to confiscate it.
Yeah.
They
They
can
took a
choose
snow
to
globe from me
confiscate
once,
anything.
whatever.
That's true with your tactical pen too. So as opposed to these. So if you are going to travel and fly, this is a felony to carry through TSA. They'll
Okay.
usually just take it, but so definitely don't argue if they bring it up, right? And don't try and sneak it, because if you appear to be more sneaky about it, then they're really gonna nail you. And I don't know, unless you're into it, I don't think you want that full body cavity search,
Yeah.
okay? Whereas the tactical pen, I've actually carried that on 17 times and they've never even questioned me about it. It's a pen. I just put it in with my other pens in my computer bag. They've never even said a word. So that's another thing to think of with, you know, when you're going to carry, how you're going to
Yeah.
carry. Now, the thing I love about the Hear Me Out alarm is there is no restriction on where I can carry this. I don't have to worry about, I can take this to amusement parks. I can take this into jury duty. I have worn it on a plane on my belt loop. So I don't ever have to worry about where I'm taking it when I'm taking this. Now, if I can, I always back it up with a weapon, but at least I know I have something. And I have all of my, you know, superhero friends that are gonna swoop in to come and help take care of me as well.
That definitely has to go to the metal detector, right?
Which, all of the above?
Handheld?
So, oh yeah, so these will go through the metal,
Even the one,
the alarm, everything I have, I mean, this alarm can go through the metal detector, even if it was detected, but most of it's plastic. But even if it were detected, it's okay, because it's just an alarm, so it's allowed to go. You're not, you know, they don't say you can't even wear a belt loop. I mean, a belt on a plane, you're allowed to wear a belt. That has probably as much metal as your belt buckle would have. Unless you're a rodeo champion. So, any other questions on it? Okay, let's do a drawing. Everybody gave me their card, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Sandy.
It's not just this, like you're
Right.
doing a drawing. It's just-
So I'm also,
This you people can get from me at almost anything.
I'm also giving out the stabber. So
There we go.
I'm going to be, you get to choose your
Matching.
color today.
What fun is that?
Oh, we could match.
We should First American Blue.
Maybe I should make it blue and not give them a choice.
I think we make them go First American Blue.
I think that's probably
that's how we're
smart,
gonna do
so I
it.
probably should order a few more of those for our other shows to make sure that
We have that.
that stuff. Yeah, so, okay.
Let's let the guinea pig pick the card, because you know, poor Brandon, he's hard to get zapped and, you know, goes against his
No
southern
peeking.
upbringing.
I'm gonna fan them out and I'm gonna touch your fingers with them and then you can feel around with them on it feels right to you. Who needs to be the big winner today? It's Rosa.
Uh-oh, which Rosa?
Rosa, Santibáñez, is that how you say it?
Yes, Santibáñez.
See? That's where when you go door knocking. You know, water, sure,
Gotta
water.
have water.
You do you, water's good, water is good.
Especially when it's 102,
Right?
105.
she just closed her first transaction.
There you go, and now
There
you be
you go.
safe
That's awesome.
and be
So,
protected.
ladies and gentlemen, if there are things that you want to order, I do have an order form. You just have to fill out the top portion. And I have catalogs for all of you as well. So I'll put these out. out, actually, I'll put them at the table, you can just pass them down, take one if you'd like it. And then I've got catalogs right here, so, yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
The catalog has prices.
Catalog has prices, they're not the out the door
No, I
prices.
think I
Yes,
do.
catalog.
Jen, I do, I have the old one.
Okay, so yours
Yeah, I
doesn't
do.
have that.
Yeah, no, I do have the old one.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are my books. Yeah. Mhm. I think so. I'm getting it. I gotta get this one.
Oh.
I think they'll like it.
If I'm gonna carry
I
one.
wonder if it works
it's a
internationally.
second. So here's the
You
thing
know?
with this,
Wouldn't that
so
be
I guess I get that.
Because
I
it's
have Wi-Fi,
calling, yeah.
right?
Because if I.
Well, I definitely-
We can ask.
Oh, you know what?
So the starter, when it's done them, I can stop them in a track out distance.
Like if you're going on a cruise
Yeah.
Does it work?
I'm in Cabo and I need help.
or on a cruise, because you're in the ocean.
Right.
I mean, it'll make the sound, but
Right.
on a cruise ship, there's a lot of places you can.
The alone be
Yeah.
first.
No, but my daughter, my whole daughter's
Yes,
in
ma'am.
college.
Yes.
And then my wife likes. to
That
work
one
at
is
night.
47 with tax and all,
You know, my wife.
with the chain, every bit of it, yeah. So this one is two
And just get it.
stranded in one class. And this one sits a
There is
little
a
higher,
place
so
where
your
you-
pearl will be right about here, your whistle will be right about here, and there's a 2-inch extender, just everything. That one's 171 out the door, tax and all. So the battery, so we have a 2-year warranty on the battery, so if it goes dead within 2 years, we're gonna replace that for free. Otherwise, you'll have to send it back, to have them replaced later on. Just understand if it gets taken apart, and if you were to break the inside, changing the battery yourself, that voids the warranty. Yeah. But if it gets.
Not a home warranty.
Got a hump, right? No, actually, I tell my homeowners all the time, don't try to fix shit.
It wouldn't be very expensive.
Yes, we know how.
And these laminated sheets here, these actually show your end price. So it already includes the tax, the 5% handling I had to pay to get it. It takes out the $5 shipping. But this would show you your end price. So if you are trying to take a look that way, that can help too. Let me make sure. No, thanks. That's what we had last, or they had last night. I didn't have it. I didn't have it. I had my non-fat Greek yogurt, and my roasted cauliflower.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, I have fallen in love with roasted cauliflower.
You know what? I now like roasted Brussels sprouts.
If you had asked me a year ago.
Oh, yeah,
I
no
wouldn't
way.
have touched a vegetable.
Oh, right. Me neither.
Only if you buy the alarm too. You have to buy this. No, so this is full